Dawning of a new era of Padres television coverage. The game presented by and for the team that all San Diego fans care about.
Pointed to center field. Padres take the lead.
A team with history as tough.
Oh, Doctor, you can hang a star on that, baby.
And proud.
And the Padres have the National League pennant.
As the city it represents. Tonight, we bring you the next evolution of Padres baseball coverage. New rules, faster, more exciting play.
Caught by Fernando!
And the presentation to match. The faces and voices remain familiar.
Machado deep and far into the San Diego night and walking off!
A broadcast backed by the power of the Padres and Major League Baseball. We're not changing history.
Hi, I'm Tony Gwynn of the San Diego Padres.
The Padres draped the National League flag around their shoulders for 1998. Oh, Doctor!
We're taking history into a new age. Padres baseball, presented by Major League Baseball, is officially on the air.
We welcome you to South Florida and Miami. It's beautiful outside Lone Depot Park. It is the middle game, game 2 of a 3-game series between the San Diego Padres and the Miami Marlins. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo along with Mark Grant. Welcome to Padres Baseball, presented by Major League Baseball. What an exciting time it is to be a Padres fan. Never before has there been this kind of coverage so widely available to so many fans in San Diego.
Donnie, this is great for the game of baseball and fans all the way around this great country of ours and around the world. Games will now be accessible approximately 3.2 million homes. Previously, only 1.1 million homes, so that's an increase of 189%. What's not to love about this? You get to see baseball, more of the brown and gold for the people who love the Padres, and that's a great thing.
Fans can now watch games with a Padres single team package subscription. Sign up at MLB.tv or on MLB app. No local blackout restrictions apply. Free for viewers. As we get ready for baseball tonight, it's time for a new era of Padres baseball.
The next evolution of Padres coverage.
This is a new era of Padres baseball coverage.
Padres baseball is brought to you by Petco, official partner of the San Diego Padres. It's the Padres and Marlins. Before we get it started, let's check in with the third member of our broadcast team, Bob Scanlon.
Don, thank you so much. It's certainly exciting for all of us to be a part of this new era of Padres broadcast presented by MLB, and it should be an exciting night to watch Blake Snell on the mound. Why? He's coming off one of his best outings of the season, 5 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. That frankly was probably overshadowed by the excitement of Rougned Odor hitting a 9th inning home run against the Washington Nationals. But what made this outing so good for Blake? The fact that he had all of his weapons going for him. Let's take a look at what we're talking about. Sometimes there's games where he has the curveball, other times he'll have the slider, but in his last outing versus the Nats, he had it all. The nasty curveball for strike 3. 3 of his strikeouts came on that hook, but he also had the slider, back foot to the right-hander, and then how about the cheese upstairs at 96? Let's see that again, 97 on that one. Blake Snell, he had all of his off-speed working. He had the fastball command going as well. He's hoping that he can carry that same stuff into this outing. Speaking of carrying things over, Padres are certainly hoping that this offense can carry some things over from last night. Not only did they forge a comeback victory, but they were able to get it done with runners in scoring position, 6 for 16, and a blowout 9th inning for 5 runs. Hopefully they can give Blake Snell some run support. Don, Mud, back up to you.
All right, Scan, thanks very much as we get ready for the Padres and the Marlins as Blake Snell trying to keep this going. We check out the Padres starting 9. Ha-Sung Kim leading it off. He is at third base with Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field. Juan Soto has really picked it up since April 27th, second in the majors in OPS. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop with Brandon Dixon at first base. Jake Cronenworth at second base. Nelson Cruz, the DH, with Gary Sanchez in his second game on a Padres uniform batting 8th, and Trent Grisham in the 9th spot in center field.
You know, Donnie, so Bob Melvin shaking it up a little bit. The first time this season, Ha-Sung Kim will lead off. He's been getting on base, and Juan Soto has been squaring up the baseball. It all revolves around those 1, 2, 3, and 4 hitters. They're up there. They're producing the most. You want to get as many at-bats during a ball game for those 3 or 4 guys. That's why Bob Melvin is tinkering with the lineup he is tonight.
Well, last night we saw Jake Cronenworth in the leadoff spot. Tonight it is Ha-Sung Kim for Bob Melvin, who is trying to keep it going here after the explosion last night. And the great thing about last night for Bob Melvin, first and foremost, was finally getting some hits with runners in scoring position.
As Bob Scanlon mentioned, 6 for 16. It was huge. Extra base hits were huge as well, because I tell you what, everybody's sitting on the edge of their seat, and it was almost like, okay, here we go again. That's the last thing that you want to have enter your mind when the Padres were going through that drought. Last night they broke out of it. Hopefully a sign of things to come for this Padres offense.
So a little different look at the top of the Padres lineup, but the main guys who have really gotten it going lately, especially Juan Soto in the middle, and I think he likes hitting where he is in the lineup right now.
Yeah, batting third. You know he's going to get an at-bat in the first inning. And I tell you what, Ha-Sung Kim tonight leading off, Fernando batting second. So those hitters with Soto batting third, they should get something to hit. Get on base for Juan Soto. Hey, the power is there. He's squaring a lot of balls up on the barrel. So, hey, you start baby steps, right? Last night was a very good victory, putting 9 runs on the board, winning 9-4, and a new slate tonight. Hopefully they get it started early. Crooked numbers early for San Diego.
And they need Blake Snell to stay out there for a while tonight as well. He used the bullpen a lot last night.
He had a good outing last time out, and it's all predicated on throwing strikes. And we know that when Blake Snell is on the wild side, yeah, get a little dicey. But if he gets ahead early, wipes him out early, Blake Snell can be really, really nasty. And what makes him nasty? The location of the fastball, and also that slider of his, that wipeout slider.
That's kind of cool. He's working with Gary Sanchez for the first time in his career. Now, he had trouble with Gary Sanchez in his career. And, of course, Gary was in New York and in Minnesota. But Blake faced him a lot, and he had the most home runs against Blake Snell in his career. So now he's his battery mate. It's even better. He doesn't have to deal with him.
And that's a good thing.
Let's take a look at StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud.
Blake Snell, he's a 4-pitch mix, the 4-seam of the slider, the curveball, and the changeup. Now, at times, we know Blake Snell, one of those pitches might be in timeout. What's going to be the pitch of the night? Hey, hopefully he's got 2, maybe 3 of the 4 working tonight, because when he's got his game, we notice right there by that graphic there, he likes to pound the zone, and when he's pounding the zone, he's pretty successful.
And if he can stay away from the walks, we found that out, that there's no doubt about it. When he stays away from walks, he wins. It's just that simple.
He's got too good of stuff to nibble, and I know that Blake Snell knows that. I mean, he's as well prepared as anybody. Working with pitching coach Ruben Niebla is a huge thing. He knows the scouting reports. So Blake knows that he doesn't really have to nibble to really be successful. So hopefully tonight he can go against these Marlins and right out of the gate some quick 1, 2, 3 innings early.
And of course he pitched at a similar place to this as far as the roof goes, Tropicana Field, where he won his Cy Young Award. And always seems to like to pitch in Florida. So we'll see how that goes for him tonight as the Marlins take the field here tonight at Lone Depot Park, led by their starter Braxton Garrett, who is on the mound tonight for Miami.
25-year-old left-hander, 10th start for Braxton Garrett. Tell you what, though, at home, home has not been home sweet home. 3 starts, 4 appearances for the left-hander. His ERA at 7.50. Hopefully the Padres can get to him early.
Yeah, it'll be Kim at the top of that order for the Friars in tonight's contest. And looking to get on base, and he's a guy who can run too, which is something that we saw him do last night. And the Padres trying to run a little more than they have, trying to create some in scoring position chances for themselves.
How about Ha-Seong Kim last night, batting in the 9th position, got on a fielder's choice. He walked twice, he singled, and a sac fly. So doing all the right things, putting the ball in play, and now he finds himself at the top of the lineup trying to get on base for you betcha, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Juan Soto.
Yeah, the Padres have won 5 of their last 8 games and have powered up the last 8 games with 14 homers, 48 runs during that stretch. But as we mentioned, stealing bases, and Kim's one of those guys. They've stolen 15 bases in 17 chances during the last 8 games. So trying to run a little more, trying to create some things.
Well, with the left-hander on the hill, that could cut down the running game a little bit. We'll have to see if they go on Garrett, if they get on base. Have to see what type of pickoff move he has as well.
So here comes Kim to lead it off for the Friars in the first inning. A new era of Padres baseball ready to go. Presented by Major League Baseball. And Braxton Garrett ready to work to Ha-Seong Kim. First pitch of this one is going to miss inside for ball 1. Underway in Miami. We had a light gathering here last night, and looks like it's going to be the same tonight for game 2 of the series. This one grounded foul outside of third. Play day baseball here tomorrow in the finale of the 3-game series against the Marlins.
Hopefully the Padres start where they let off last night. 9 runs, 11 hits right out of the gate. Make some noise with the bats. Not a lot of fans here, as Donnie mentioned.
2-2 is in there for strike 3, and Kim. That's actually strike 2 to Kim. It's now 1-2. Kim batting .333 in his last 9 games. He'll ground to short here, and Birdie's throw in plenty of time. So 1 away in the first. Let's check out the Marlins defensively. It is Brian De La Cruz in left field with Jonathan Davis in center. Garrett Hampson around in right. Third to first, Gene Segura, John Birdie, Luis Arraez, and Yuli Gurriel, with Nick Fortes doing the catching for Braxton Garrett. 1 down in the first inning. And here is Fernando. Swing and a miss for strike 1.
See that cut fastball? That's what Garrett needs to do. Into the righties. Fastballs in. Cutters in. Try to avoid that barrel. Again.
Braxton Garrett allowed 2 runs in 5 innings against the Rockies last Thursday. Got a no decision, an eventual 7-6 Marlins defeat in Denver. He's allowed 2 runs or less in 7 of 9 starts on the year, and he strikes out Fernando. What does he feature?
Well, we saw 3 pitches that he throws of the 6. That at bat against Fernando. We saw the cutter, we saw the slider, we saw the changeup. He'll also throw that sinker, the curveball, the 4-seamer. 6-pitch mix. The sinker getting knocked around at 345. How about the curveball? Only 10% at 500 average. But all those pitches in the zone. He's got to work down, go off speed on these guys.
2 down in the first inning for Juan Soto, who has been great. Overall, 268 on the year, 10 homers, 26 runs batted in, and he is baffled. Soto reached base safely in 4 of 5 plate appearances here last night. He's batting .355 with 6 homers, 17 runs batted in the last 28 games.
Juan taking his time out after going down 0-2 to gather his thoughts.
Does that a lot.
Yeah.
The 0-2 is strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Braxton Garrett. A 1-2-3 first. The Marlins are coming up in Miami. Back in Miami as the Padres do not score in the top of the first inning. Miami Marlins coming up in the bottom of the first inning. It'll be Brian De La Cruz, who had a good night last night with a home run leading it off. Jorge Soler has got 9 home runs against left-handed pitching. And, of course, Snell on the mound tonight. That leads the majors. Luis Arraez having a tremendous year. Yuli Gurriel, John Birdie, Gene Segura, Nick Fortes, Garrett Hampson, and Jonathan Davis rounding out the starting 9 for the Marlins. Blake Snell on the hill for the Friars tonight.
Throwing strikes, that's the big key. He touches 98, 99. This is his 11th start. If he can get ahead and throw that wipeout slider, that's one of the things that Blake Snell can do really, really well. Last time out, 5 innings, only 1 earned run for the left-hander.
Brian De La Cruz to lead it off here, the left fielder for Miami. First pitch from Blake Snell is up top for a ball, missing with a fastball. Well, it's kind of strange in that Snell's numbers through 10 starts are nearly identical to what they were last year. 2022, he was 1-5 with a 5.22 ERA. This year, he's 1-6 with a 5.04 ERA. Now, okay,
so the ERA
that's
is
the bad
lower,
news,
right?
Right? It is.
Okay,
but,
that's a good thing.
But remember how good a second half he had, and of course postseason he had. So if everything goes like it did last year, then we're in good shape.
Maybe Blake should put one of those like postseason patches that they put on their hats like during the regular season. Maybe that'll turn it around early. But no, he was lights out last half of last season. Once again, there's that fastball up and away arm side that that he needs to control. And the one thing, you know, I look at this matchup versus lefties. The Marlins this year hitting .302 off of lefties.
After the start that he had last year, he posted a 2.19 ERA over his final 14 starts of the 2022 regular season.
That's dealing. That just goes to show you that last pitch was 95 right down the middle. It was a 3-1 count, fastball count.
Yep. Seems like sometimes he doesn't trust it enough.
Yep. And I've told him before, throw the fastball.
You've told him to his face.
Look at that.
It's foul back.
Late at 96. Not saying it's going to work every time, but especially if you mix in the location, it's going to go your way.
He's facing a Marlins team who hit lefties pretty well, .302. Where the Rays and Braves have a higher batting average against left-handed pitching. And this one carved foul to the screen.
3 heaters in a row. Can't catch up to him. Now here's where that slider that looks like a fastball could be effective, but it's got to be right around the zone. Out of the hand, look like a strike.
The Cruz hitting at .348 himself against lefties, but he goes looking. Blake Snell able to strike him out for out number 1. And the Cruz says some stuff to Brennan Miller before he departs.
This was the curveball, and it lit up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it did. Hey, right below Miami, just above the belt buckle. Looks like a strike to me.
So 1 down here in the first inning. Jorge Soler. We'll take a look at ball one. As we showed you in the lineups, does very well against left-handed pitching, hitting at .354 the batting average, but the 9 home runs. That leads the majors. Never gets cheated. Pretty good hack right there.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on because we've seen a lot of it already. Fastballs in the zone that are either taken or swung on and missed, fouled back, because he's already thrown like 5 fastballs in the zone, and they have not been able to connect.
1-1 pitch from Snell, and that's going to be up top for ball 2. His last starts against the National last Thursday, allowed 1 run in 5 innings. He did walk some people, though. Walked 4, hit a batter. No decision. Eventual 8-6 Padres victory. That was a big home run from Rougned Odor, you may remember. Go ahead 3-run home run with 2 outs in the 9th. Snell ready with a 2-2. And Soler strikes out. Changed his mind in the middle, tried to hold up, but the 97 was by him, and it's back-to-back strikeouts for Snell to start the night.
Well, the old number 1 upstairs, tough to lay off. Bad swing, great result for Blake Snell.
So 2 down, Luis Arraez. What a fantastic year he has had, leading the majors in average by a lot. .376 coming in. 1 home run, 20 runs batted in. Hit into 2 double plays in last night's game.
Hey, how about that one? That was the at bat of the game. Bases loaded, 1 out, 6-4-3. Thank you very much. Good pitching right there by the Padres bullpen. Tim Hill was on the hill.
Wow, he was terrific.
Yes, he was.
Coming in, a bases loaded, nobody out situation. Fly ball lifted foul down the left field line, out of play.
Another heater in the zone, fouled off.
The 2-1 pitch from Snell. And that is fouled off down the left field line. Evens up at 2-2. Trying to strike out the side here, although Arraez does not strike out very often. 2-2. And another foul down the left field line, out of play.
Boy, he's got some coverage, doesn't he?
Yes,
Went up
he
and got
does.
that one because it's close enough. You can't take it. And Donnie, you mentioned the few strikeouts. You got that right. Going into this game, 186 at-bats. So he struck out 10 times.
And it took a really long time to strike out the first time.
Yeah.
2-2 pitch. And that is to center field, and it's going to get in for a base hit in front of Grisham. A 2-out single for Arraez. Just get the feeling he can foul stuff off until he gets something to work with. And he does there with a base hit to center field with 2 down.
Very athletic stance. Lefty on lefty. He waits on that breaky ball nicely. Lets it travel, and it's right down the middle. Doesn't pull off of it at all. And there goes the no-hitter.
So 2 down, Arraez at first base. He'll be held on by Brandon Dixon, and here's Yuli Gurriel. Swing of the first pitch. It's a fly ball to right. Tatis is there, and he makes the catch that ends the inning. Done with 1. X marks the spot. That's Xander Bogaerts.
That just didn't happen, did it? That was a great at-bat for Xander Bogaerts. He battled.
Bogaerts is an amazingly consistent offensive player.
Xander, you have got to be cartooning me.
Just continue to watch him get better every year.
This guy's a superstar. He's letting his play to the top.
Unbelievable. And Xander Bogaerts is hot. Gotta go.
That, my friends, is what you call a no-doubter.
He plays the game. He plays it hard. This guy's special.
Xander Bogaerts is going to lead it off here in the second inning for the Padres. He has been so much fun to watch so far in a Padres uniform.
You know what the thing is, Donnie, the bottom line, he's the complete package.
He really is.
I mean, and it goes beyond both sides of the scorecard.
Yep.
It's in the clubhouse as a teammate.
As a person,
yes.
He is wonderful. To short, Birdie will fire. He didn't panic. He's able to keep it in front of him, and the bobble is not costly. Retires Bogaerts.
Remember, we mentioned it the other day, but Xander kind of, nursing a little bit of a wrist issue there, but still, answering the post.
Playing hurt.
Yep.
One down in the second inning for Brandon Dixon. Dixon getting the nod at first base tonight. Score a free Jumbo Jack from Jack in the Box after a Padres home run. One down here in the second inning, and Dixon will take the 1-0 for strike one.
We talked a little bit about Garrett and what he throws, and his number one pitch is not the fastball. It's the slider, the sinker, and the cutter. Talked to some people with the Marlins. They said, he has come to the realization he is who he is. As Skip Schumacher, he's got a pretty good young team working right now and playing well. He knows that he's not going to blow away hitters, right? So he's got to rely on movement, location. Get in on the hands of these right-handed hitters that he's going to face this season.
For Dixon, his first appearance of this series against the Marlins. It's 2 for 6 in the series in New York at Yankee Stadium. And drives this one a long way but foul down the left field line out ahead.
See, those are the mistakes that the Padre hitter is going to have to look for. That one was in. That's a tough pitch to keep fair. The hanging breaking ball, middle in a little bit that you could yank out over the bullpen out there in left field.
2-2 is on the ground right side. Ranging is a rise. Good play, but wow, that was close. He is out. Got down the line very well. Arise kind of rounded behind that. We'll see if the Padres are going to challenge on that as Bob Melvin's looking back to Ryan Christensen.
I'll tell you what, Donnie, as I looked at this, I thought he beat it. That's close. That's very close.
No challenge from the Padres.
Let's see how close it is right here. Oh, wow. Just got him.
Probably don't want to lose your challenge in the second inning either. That may be part of it.
Absolutely.
Jay Cronenworth will swing at the first pitch, grounds it down to first base. Gurriel will take it himself to the bag, and that is that in the second inning. Done with an inning and a half without a score from Miami.
Hitting against Blake Snell is like playing chess.
He's just been dealing. He's been filthy all night.
Great placement by Snell.
Fired up, adrenaline rushing.
little bump in his velocity, a little bump in everything.
No, he's locked in.
He has gotten ahead of guys all night long.
Strike 3 called, 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
He has everything going right now.
This guy is a man among boys.
Got him swinging.
When you watch him pitch, you see his excitement. You know he's going to bring it.
Former Cy Young Award winner. And could be again. Who knows? But he's been pretty good for the Padres. First halves have been tough, but boy, the second halves have been amazing, and certainly the postseason very good.
I remember we talked to Blake last year, and he really even couldn't pinpoint it himself. It was just a matter of repetition through the course of the season. Quote, to find it. Well, he found it halfway through and towards the end of the season last year.
John Birdie, the shortstop, to lead it off. Center fielder Trent Grisham well into right center. Good sized gap in left center.
If Snell's going to play him or pitch him away, rather, that easy fly ball to right field, right center field. He's got some giddy up tonight.
We are so glad you have joined us tonight for Padres baseball, presented by Major League Baseball. And we've thrown a lot of numbers at you tonight, Mud, but I would have to say the amount of households that we are now reaching is off the charts amazing. Available to 3.2 million households. Previously, the games were available to 1.1. It's an increase of plus 189%. That's pretty major.
Yeah, what's not to love, right?
Yeah.
If you love the game of baseball, it's out to many more people that get a chance to sit back and relax and have a social sparkler and watch the brown and gold. The Friars.
Love your Padres.
Love
Friar
them.
faithful.
Love them dearly. So welcome.
2-2 pitch. That is in there for strike 3. Gets him looking. Third K for Snell.
Well, he's got the hammer in that toolbox, and here it is, the old number 2 frozen pizza right down the middle. He's got the giddy up tonight on the fastball, and he can spin the old number 2.
And to make the transition as convenient as possible, fans, MLB is making the games through Sunday under the new arrangement, available for free with MLB login at MLB.com, Padres.com, and the MLB apps, mobile and connected devices. So again, we are glad you are here with us and very excited about the future of Padres baseball. And that coverage presented by Major League Baseball. This one lying down the right field line is headed foul and into the seats. Rattles around down there, but ends up coming out onto the field, and Fernando will run it down.
You just made a fan. And the chase is on.
Gene Segura, over 200 hits as a member of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Just 1 year with the D-backs. Struggling this year at the plate, hitting under 200. Speaking of 200, he's hitting at 198 heading into tonight's action. It's not Gene Segura light. He's a good hitter.
Yeah, when he was swinging the bat well, using the whole field, kind of shortening the stroke a little bit. And with that said, the fastball of Snell, I'm looking at the defense. Fernando Tatis Jr. is way over towards that line. As you mentioned earlier, Don, that gap in left center field, huge.
0-2 and a swing and a miss. Segura strikes out. Snell's got it going on. That is back-to-back strikeouts, 4 and all for Blake Snell.
Challenging him with the heater again. Boy, he is spinning it. He is being aggressive with the fastball in the zone.
Well, Padres pitchers K9, your K9 or feline wins. If the Padres strike out 9 or more batters in a game, Petco Vital Care members can visit participating Petco locations. Visit petco.com/Padres K9 for details. Fly out to left will end the inning. We're scoreless through 2. Scoreless back in beautiful Miami as we get ready for the third inning.
Is that the Donatangelo right there on the SS Donatangelo?
I don't think so. No, that's on the other coast.
A lot of brown and gold traveling well this season to all the visiting venues. It's good to see him.
A lot of brown and gold across Major League Baseball this year on the road. There's a lot in New York. The Padres took on the Yankees. We move to the third, and Nelson Cruz, with a left-hander going, gets a start as the DH. The platoon continues between Cruz and Carpenter. 3 homers in a Padres uniform for Nelson Cruz so far. A .245 average, 16 runs driven in. Thought about it, but lays off, and it just missed, even though it did light up. The numbers for Cruz in his first 35 games. I would say Carpenter has seen the lion's share of the action, but that's because there's more right-handers, obviously. And Cruz in there anytime there's a left-handed starter. Yeah, they'll switch during the game as well, depending upon who's in out of the bullpen. But I think they'd like to get more production out of the DH spot right now. Bob Melvin would.
Most certainly. Matt Carpenter has swung a couple times recently. Extra base hits come through. Hit a home run, extra base hit. Nelson Cruz against the lefty here. Something soft in the middle of the zone. He can do some damage as well.
It's a piece of the 1-2 and foul tips it.
But I think the pitch here for Garrett against a hitter like Cruz would be that changeup. Now that he's got him 1-2. He has spun some breaking balls up there. He's got that changeup in his back pocket, something darting down and away possibly. Looks like he's going in here.
That is strike 3. Ended up kind of in the middle, and that's a third strikeout for Braxton Garrett. First out of the third inning.
So you spin a handful of pitches, right? And then all of a sudden you got him in the back of your mind, and then bang, the fastball only at 91. That's a sinker. 91. He was definitely guessing something else.
And one down here in the third inning, and that'll bring up Gary Sanchez. Made his Padres debut last night. Picked up off waivers from the Mets. Four games this year. 2 for 10. And last night again, his first game with the Padres, did get a base hit in his last at bat. Breakdown for Garrett. A lot of strikes so far.
Oh, yeah.
First 26. 3 strikeouts, no walks. He's retired the first 7 Friars he's faced in the game.
Good pitch. That dot lit up. There's that slider. Cortez tried to bring it up a little bit, get the call. He didn't.
2-2 with Trent Grisham waiting on deck for the Padres. Batting here in the visiting half of the third inning. Garrett coming in individually at 1-2, 4.50 ERA. Driven to left field, deep and far, and that ball is gone. Gary Sanchez with his first home run in a Padres uniform puts the Padres on top 1-0. Welcome to San Diego, Gary Sanchez.
That's that off-speed pitch I was just talking about out of the hand of Garrett. It was the cut fastball. Didn't get it in enough. And Sanchez was all over it. It's worth another look. Not a lot of break to it, not a lot of depth, and he is all over it. Turns on it. Mr. 99 doing his stuff.
So the first hit for the Padres is a home run, and they lead it 1-0. His first Polaroid opportunity.
Nice.
Probably wondering what's going on with this.
Oh, it's a thing.
Oh, it's a thing. It's a very big thing. And if you're in the picture, it means you did something good.
Hopefully many more of those.
Talking it over with Ryan Flaherty. So the home run has the Padres on top 1-0. Trent Grisham.
That was one of those pitches that was easy to track for Sanchez from the lefty. I mean, it just, that release point and just that little spin on it. Didn't have depth. Crushed it. Good layoff right there.
Slider misses, and Grisham not chasing. 196 average for Grisham. 5 homers, 14 runs batted in. A couple of hits last night. And a couple of walks. He was on base 4 times in the game. And a liner here, but right to the shortstop birdie for out number 2. So good contact, but they had the defense align perfectly, did the Marlins.
Don't change a thing there, Trent. He took the ball the opposite way. He hit it well. Just happened to be a defender there. Good swing.
2 down in the 3rd inning, and Ha-Sung Kim bounced to short his first time up, second time through this order. For Braxton Garrett, the starter for Miami. On the ground now to 3rd, and under the glove of Gene Segura. Into left field, and a very wide turn there for Kim, but he'll get back to the bag at first. I don't know if that hit the lip of the grass or turf and stayed down, or what happened to Segura there.
Let's take a look here. Breaking ball down and in, drops the head. Oh, very makeable play.
Yeah. He just didn't get it.
Yeah, instead of going down to up, he went down. He went up to down. I'll get it right. And it's easier if you start down, you play that hop and come up rather than try to go down for that ball. It looked like it was a very catchable ball as well.
E5 has Kim at first with 2 down. And Fernando Tatis Jr., a strikeout victim in the first. One of 3 Ks put together by Braxton Garrett so far in this one.
I thought it was kind of neat. Bob Melvin talking before the game, and the construction of the lineup tonight. Ha-Sung Kim last night batting 9th, getting on base, leading off tonight. And then he was asked about Fernando. Of course, you want to get him, as many at bats. And Bob said we could put him anywhere in the lineup, 1 through 9, and he's going to be happy. He just wants to hit. But you want to get as many at bats for those top 3, 4 guys in the lineup.
Runner goes, and Kim a swing and a miss, and the throw down there. Kim will be safe. Stolen base. Wrapped his arms around the bag as he was going to slide past it. But the stolen base gets him in a scoring position.
With the lefty, too. Going on the first move. That's the chance you take. Hold on. I like the momentum, him grabbing the bag and then his feet whipping around towards the shortstop side.
So 2 down, Kim at second, and Tatis will take a ball inside. Garrett getting into the rotation early in April after Johnny Cueto was forced from his Marlins debut April 3rd with biceps issue. Throw to second, and he is back safely. Oh, see if they take a look at this. That looked like they may have gotten Kim. Skip Schumacher with the hand up at the moment, and they are going to challenge.
Yeah, it's the daylight play. It's a perfect throw.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't look like the tag happened till late.
Right, late and up on the elbow it looked like. Oh, I got safe.
Yeah, I think he's back.
Yeah. Hey, this could work to the advantage of San Diego if they waste this challenge here, get it wrong. It's early in the game. Lose a challenge. Stay tuned.
We'll see here. Mark Carlson, the crew chief.
I don't think I've ever seen a better throw to second base. I mean, it was a strike. It's where it's needed to be.
Rise missed the tag. Unless he got him there.
Oh, that is close. Wow. Yeah.
Gets him on the hand, then he is indeed out, but some of the other angles was a little tough to tell. So Schumacher hoping that's the way they see it here. At least a challenge relatively early in this game.
Skip just kind of motioned with his hand like he tipped the top of his hand. Skip was, watch the top of the glove of the left hand of Kim. Or the right hand of Kim. Check that. Right? Does he get him there?
Yeah, that's the question.
Did you see the glove move?
Yeah.
His right hand?
Yeah.
It kind of moved, didn't it? Now, after that look, I would have to say that's an out.
Again, the call on the field currently is safe. Second base umpire is Mark Carlson, the crew chief, who is right now waiting for the decision. And did he get him there?
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The runner is out.
It is indeed out, and it will be overturned. So, picked off at second base is Ha-Seong Kim, but a home run, his first in a Padres uniform for Gary Sanchez, has San Diego on top 1-0 after 2.5 in Miami. Back in Miami, the Padres have a 1-0 lead thanks to the home run by Sanchez. Oh, it's beautiful in Miami this time of year. It's not too hot, not too humid. It's okay.
A little bit on the humid side for the kid here.
Oh, a little too hot for you, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful, though.
I like it.
Yeah. Oh, I know you like it. Donnie loves the water.
Blake Snell liking Miami so far. She's got a lead now with which to work on top 1-0 as we move to the last of the third inning. In there for strike one from Snell. Garrett Hampson, former Colorado Rocky. 39 games with the Marlins, hitting at .243 with a home run. And no luck last night, going 0 for 2.
You know, that last inning when the Marlins flew out to left field in the second inning, it was the only fastball so far put in play. All the other fastballs taken, swung on and missed, or fouled out of play. So that tells you something about the heater that Blake Snell has tonight.
Fouled off to the right, out of play. Sampson, Davis, and Dela Cruz scheduled to bat here in the third.
See if he breaks out that slider right here after going upstairs 2 times in a row. Once for a strike, once out of the zone.
Get him a chase, who's up and away, and evens at 2-2.
Yeah, and he wanted that one down.
Working on the first base side of the rubber. And missing away again, that time with a changeup and a full count.
Had him 0-2.
And that is strike 3, able to get him. Curveball gets him, and that's 5 strikeouts now for Blake Snell.
That is some kind of nasty right there. A 3-2 hammer. Back door. Wow. He's spinning it tonight.
One down here in the third, and it brings up Jonathan Davis. Ranks it foul off to the right out of play. Yeah, he figured something out.
Yeah.
Last time out against the Nats and carrying it into tonight. So far, look at his line.
Heavy on the four-seamer tonight. Curveball's coming in second place. Showing is the slider, and then he's thrown one changeup. And chalk up another one, and a dandy.
Batter timeout here for Jonathan Davis. With 2 strikes to the hitter. It seems most hitters with 2 strikes will take their timeout. Just trying to slow things down here a little bit. Popped up right side, and it's Cronenworth on the outfield lawn to make the catch for out number 2.
Just noticing the stance there of Davis. He's got a close stance, so that fastball pouring in on the hands right there, it's tough for him to get to it. That was a perfect pitch right there.
Let's check in with Bob.
You know, it's interesting, guys. Before the ball game, the anticipation was that Blake Snell might be calling more of his own pitches tonight on the pitch comm. Why? Because Gary Sanchez is trying to learn an entire pitching staff. He let Ryan Weathers call most of his game yesterday. The Padres' game plans are very complex, the sequencing, all that kind of stuff. But as you can see tonight, so far, Gary Sanchez has been doing all the calling. We haven't seen Blake go to his pitch comm very much at all. Maybe it's Gary Sanchez saying, look, I've hit pretty good against you over the course of my career, buddy. Hitting 286 with 5 home runs. I know it's going to work. Why don't you trust me? So far, it's been working pretty well tonight. We'll see if they continue with it, guys. Back up to you.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he's had great success, and I'm sure Blake was kind of all ears on that one, I guess. Yeah, as a pitch will miss away.
Hey, you know what? Maybe Gary Sanchez, sharing some information along the way that could be crucial for Blake Snell, and learn from it.
Yeah, you could probably be honest now as to why he saw him so well.
Here's what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, here's what I see.
And I saw it well.
Right. I have the most home runs of anyone against you. 3-1 the count here. And De La Cruz will take a strike. Full count.
Wow, got a call there.
Thank you. De La Cruz, a strikeout victim in the first. We'll get a look at it, and did appear to be away.
Yeah, so go out there again, right? Look at that.
He tried.
Yeah, perfect. And with pinpoint control as well.
On the ground up the middle, ranging is Bogarts around the bag at second, throws off balance and in time to retire the side. 1-0 Padres through 3 in Miami. Padres baseball is brought to you by UC San Diego Health, the official health provider of the San Diego Padres. Good look from outside Lone Depot Park and Miami, where the Padres have a 1-0 lead thanks to Gary Sanchez's solo home run.
Once where the Orange Bowl stood, all those great football games of yesteryears here in Miami.
Here's Fernando to lead it off. Hits it on the ground to short, and John Birdie is there. Throws out Tatis, and Fernando's 0 for 2. Out number 1 of the 4th inning.
Well, early on, we've got ourselves a pitcher's duel. We've got both ends of the spectrum as well. Snell throwing the heat. And on the other end, Garrett kind of changing speeds.
And a couple of lefties.
Yeah, the soft stuff. You bet.
One down here in the 4th inning. Juan Soto getting his second look at Garrett. Takes strike 1. Starts him with a slider.
It's a nice short slider right there. Good break.
Soto now into double figures in home runs with 10. On this last day of May.
Can you believe it, John? Donnie? It's Don.
I'm Don.
It's Don.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, that's what I thought. June 1st tomorrow.
It's unbelievable. And I feel like we've spent it all on the road.
Yeah. Got that right.
1-1 pitch. Is by the mound, but right to the shortstop Birdie behind second, and he will throw out Soto. So some well-positioned defenders for the Marlins so far. I didn't think that would be in center field, but no, Birdie was right there. And Soto retired 6-3, 2 down here in the 4th inning.
And that tells me that the pitchers are hitting their spots. According to the scouting report, ball put in play. There's the defender to get it.
Here is Xander Bogaerts, who grounded out to shortstop, and John Birdie has been quite busy in this game. We do a little math here while you wait.
Okay.
1, 2,
carry the 8,
3, 4, 5. He has 5 assists in this game.
I believe you.
He's been busy. People are hitting the ball to the shortstop. That's John Birdie.
Premium position. Checking out what's going on around him there. Got to have both feet on the dirt with the new rules.
Little check swing grounder, softly hit and off the glove of Garrett. He tried to flip it, and reaching will be Bogaerts. Garrett has nobody to blame but himself on this one.
Oh, you talk about frustration right here. Try with the backhand, can't come up with it. All of a sudden, yard sale. And the desperation right here between the legs. So. Between the legs with the glove.
What was the plan there? He was going to flip it
between his legs there, I
like
think.
That.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No chance.
So runner at first with 2 down, and that's going to be a base hit. Second hit of this game for the Padres. First one, of course, left the yard. Gary Sanchez with his home run in the 3rd. Nixon grounded out to second base in the 2nd inning. Quick check and disengagement at first base, but Bogaerts back to the bag safely.
That was kind of a courtesy move, so really haven't gotten a gauge on the move from Garrett. That might just been one of those, hey, how you doing? I'm here. Just want to let you know. Not sure if it's just a move.
Swinging a foul tip. 0-2 to Brandon Dixon. And start at first base tonight. Batting with 2 down here in the Padres 4th inning with Bogaerts at first.
Watch for that cutter in again. Ooh, change up.
'50th pitch of the game coming up here for Braxton Garrett. Works with 2 outs in the 4th inning. And that is strike 3 as Dixon goes looking. 4th strikeout for Garrett. Padres have a 1-0 lead.
Tonight marks the dawning of a new era of Padres television coverage. The game presented by and for the team that all San Diego fans care about. Tonight, we bring you the next evolution of Padres baseball coverage. New rules, faster, more exciting play.
Caught by Fernando!
And the presentation to match. A broadcast backed by the power of the Padres and Major League Baseball. Padres Baseball, presented by Major League Baseball, is officially on the air.
Padres and Major League Baseball are happy to announce a new option for Padres fans to watch their favorite team. As a result of the new arrangement, MLB is able to lift the blackout for local Padres games by offering direct-to-consumer streaming on MLB.tv in the club's territory for the first time. Fans can stream games with a Padres single-team package subscription for $19.99 per month by registering at MLB.tv or on the MLB app. To make the transition as convenient as possible for fans, MLB is making the games through Sunday under the new arrangement available for free with MLB login at MLB.com, Padres.com, and in the MLB apps on mobile and connected devices. And we are absolutely thrilled to be here with you during this transition as well.
It's great to have the new viewers, and what's not to love? We got more baseball coming your way, and hey, it's a great game. Sit back, enjoy the fun. Join us, won't you?
Come on in.
Everyone's welcome.
Jorge Soler, the DH, leading it off here for the Marlins. Soler, a strikeout victim in the first, 5 Ks. Yeah, a swing and a miss. I don't want to say Soler is all or nothing, but he is swinging for the fences pretty much every time he takes a hack. His intention is to launch.
I think so, and I agree with you. And that particular pitch, it was evident. That was a pitch out of the zone.
He does have 17 home runs, so he's good at it. He will take the walk. So a leadoff walk, and that is the first walk given up by Blake Snell. Talk about it all the time. Blake does not want to walk people.
No, and it's about adjustments too. You know, you get into the trap, maybe missing, not making the adjustment right here to arise. This is where he needs to make the adjustment. Get into a key double play last night, maybe get a ground ball right here.
Luis Arraez single to center. His first time up, ran up. Did he go? No, didn't offer, says Jordan Baker, third base umpire.
All 6-7 of him. Jordan Baker. Arraez has grounded into 9 double plays this season. 2 last night.
Now Sanchez headed out here to talk to Snell.
Kind of breaks the rhythm a little bit, but
Oh, snap. Check out this Padres belt bag presented by Sequan Casino Resort. Arrive early for the 6:10 p.m. game on Monday, June 5th, when the first 40,000 fans will receive this giveaway. Perfect for the pool or a Padres game. Visit padres.com/giveaway.
It's a lovely item.
It is, and you'd be surprised how much you get in it.
A lot.
I mean, you were getting a lot of stuff in there.
All the essentials if you want to hit the beach, go to the park.
Luis Arraez will take a ball. And it's 3-0. So Snell ends up walking Soler to begin the inning, and he falls behind Arraez here. 3-0.
Yeah, this is what you don't want.
This will be pitch 60 for Snell. Second time through the order. Arraez taken all the way, and he takes the strike. And he did get the fastball there, 3-0. Padres on top, 1-0 for Bob Melvin. Here's Sanchez with a home run. Arraez rips this into center field. Up to second base goes Soler. A walk and now a single, and the first two have reached for Miami here in the fourth inning.
This kid can flat out hit. This ball is rifled. Hockey suit. Hey, well, you know, you kept him in the yard. It's station-to-station baseball. You got the double play still in order. Still nobody out, though.
2 on, nobody out. Yuli Gurriel, the cleanup hitter, coming up now, the former Astro. As Blake's got something wrong with PitchCom here. Having trouble hearing it, apparently. Back into the hat it goes, and I guess he's good to go. They reset the clock. 20 seconds with men on. Runners at first and second. Gurriel's second look at Blake Snell. And there is strike one. Starts him with a four-seam fastball. 287, 3 homers, 12 runs batted in. First year in Miami for Gurriel after he was in Houston from 2016 through 2022. Hit 31 home runs back in 2019 with the Astros and hit nearly 300. There's that year of 298, his best year. Big spot here, 1-1. And a ground ball down the third baseline that'll go foul. Came in foul ground, picks it up. Runners will return to their bases. Soler to second and Arraez to first.
Well, the ideal situation here would be a punch out. You got one out then and then a double play in order, so that would be nice for Blake Snell. Ground ball would be nice. A defensive swing with 2 strikes. Get a double play.
Line to right, and Tatis started in but backs up, makes the catch and fires it back into the infield with that great arm of his. One down.
That ball was smoked. Nice job. Gurriel going the other way. And you're right. He made an adjustment on that fly ball.
Still kind of learning in right field a little bit, but he's so athletic he's able to make those adjustments. He can sometimes correct a route that may not be the greatest. Yep. Because of his speed, and that time kind of started in, then had to back up. Didn't realize how hard that was hit.
Yeah.
One away, runners at first and second, and John Birdie has been busy defensively. It's his second plate appearance, and we'll take a pitch in the dirt. Birdie struck out looking in the second inning. A total of 5 strikeouts in this one for Blake Snell. Ground ball right side. Cronenworth will flip to second for 1. On to first. That's 2. Double play. So Snell able to work his way around a walk and a hit to begin the inning. He gets the big 4-6-3 DP. Nicely done. Cronenworth to Bogaerts on to Dixon. 1-0 Padres. Padres baseball is brought to you by Petco, official partner of the San Diego Padres. Padres wrapping up a lengthy road trip and a stretch spent away from San Diego with tonight's game and tomorrow afternoon against the Miami Marlins, the third leg of this three-city tour. And the Padres enjoying a 1-0 lead at the moment as they come to bat in the fifth. Braxton Garrett back out on the mound. Jake Cronenworth leading it off here in the fifth inning. Jake grounded out to first base in the second inning.
Well, Garrett, heavy on the sinkers tonight. We mentioned that he likes to throw that changeup, cutter, and slider. Pretty close, though, as far as percentages of the usage of those three pitches. He is mixing it up nicely.
Ground ball down the first baseline, foul.
Just keeping him off balance. Just like Snell, we got ourselves a pitcher's duel. Hey, call a friend, phone a neighbor. We got a good one going on in South Florida.
Slap foul to the screen, and we'll do it again here. 0-2. Just one mistake really for Braxton Garrett in this game, the home run for Gary Sanchez. Nelson Cruz waiting on deck here. 0-2 pitch. Cronenworth will foul that one off the catcher Fortes. Plate umpire Brandon Miller giving him a little professional courtesy here, some extra time. He threw the ball out there, and now he'll get some new baseballs. And check on Fortes, make sure he's okay. (0-2) to Cronenworth, who's fouled off a few. And now takes the ball away. Slider missing. Too much slide.
Yeah, and you know what? He landed the first pitch of this at bat with that breaky ball, so he's trying to have Jake Cronenworth fish after that one. No pun intended.
Swinging a foul tip into the catcher's mitt for strike three. That is strikeout number 5 for Garrett. And one down here in the fifth inning. Suit up this season at MLBshop.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Gear up with your Padres at MLBshop.com. One down in the fifth, and Nelson Cruz will foul this one off beyond the Padres dugout. They're housed on the first base side here at Lone Depot Park.
Duly noted.
In case you were wondering.
I'll mark that down.
Okay. You know what that means,
the Marlins are on the third base side.
Yeah, exactly. There it is. That's where they're housed over there. That's their house while they're here in Miami. 1-1 is top foul.
It's kind of like an Airbnb for the Padres. Right?
Yes, a 3-day stay.
Yeah. South Florida.
Short term.
Yeah.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and Cruz strikes out back-to-back Ks. In fact, that's 3 in a row now for Braxton Garrett, who struck out 6. And the second time, Cruz was down by way of the K.
And again, he went to the changeup.
It's time for the Callaway Kings of Distance feature. A home run for Gary Sanchez went 406 feet away. The launch angle at 21 degrees. And his first home run in a Padres uniform. No pitch is going to miss. Sanchez's second look at Braxton Garrett, who's been really good, with the exception of that pitch kind of rolled up there. Pitch 64 coming up here for Braxton Garrett. Sanchez takes the strike. Yeah, that's right at the knees. Sanchez has questions. Always have to be careful as a catcher not to upset the umpire. You're going to need some calls from your guy.
That's a great point.
This is down to third on one big hop. Segura's got this one, and his throw is in time. 5-3 on the putout. We're halfway through. Padres on top. One to nothing. Padres on top of the Marlins back in Miami as the sun has set. Padres fans just scored a free jumbo jack from Jack in the Box with the Gary Sanchez home run.
Yeah, slap some cheese on that thing, just like Sanchez slapped that thing out of the ballpark with that shillelagh of his.
Beautiful evening in South Florida as the Padres have a 1-0 lead thanks to that guy.
Yeah, and you know what I noticed, Donnie? He still has the blue hockey style mask, but he's going to the brown gear tonight.
Yes, he's got the right colored gear.
Yeah.
But the mask, that could be a bigger problem, I would think.
I have to wait and see. We have to ask TJ about that. TJ Laidlaw, the equipment manager for the Padres.
How quickly you can get one. Gene Segura is going to lead it off here for the Fish in the 5th inning. Struck out swinging in the second. 5 strikeouts for Snell. And this is quickly into right center field. By the dive of Cronenworth at second base. And Fernando gets it back in quickly. Segura is aboard with a base hit to start the bottom of the 5th inning.
Boy, aggressive turn as we take a look at the pitch. Down and away. Take it that way. Good piece of hitting right there by Segura. And then lead him turn it on. Well, the brakes work. Can always get back. Challenging. There's a little bit of a bobble out there. You never know. He might be able to take 2.
Lead runner on here again for the Marlins. Second straight inning after the lead runner didn't get on the first 3. Nick Fortes getting his second look at Snell. Flied out to left field and Juan Soto in the 2nd inning. Next pitch will be the 70th of the night for Snell.
See if the Marlins try to shorten up if they get a fastball in the zone rather than the big, launch type swing.
On the ground to third base. Kim will go to second for 1. On to first. That's 2. Padres have turned another big double play. They turned 1 last inning. They do it again here in the 5th. 2 away.
Oh, that's pretty. That is some kind of nice right there. Perfectly hit ground ball to Kim. Thanks to the breaking ball out in front of that one is Fortes. Play a little catch around the diamond. Around the horn. Oh, 5-4-3 action.
2 down here in the 5th inning. Garrett Hampson grounds this one to first. Dixon picks it nicely and then tags the bag himself to end the inning. Through 5, 1-0 San Diego. Padres baseball is brought to you by Circa Las Vegas. How pretty is that?
Oh, gorgeous.
Wow. Sun is setting in Miami. Padres have a 1-0 lead over the Marlins. See, you wouldn't be out there, though, on the beach because you hate the sand.
You know what? On that occasion, sunset to the west, I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go enjoy the sand.
So you are actually going to go in the sand. I mean, I know you live in San Diego.
Right.
But you hate the sun and you hate the sand.
Yes.
And Miami has a lot of the same things, but San Diego has.
But I will make a consideration when the sun sets where it's nice and cool. I will take the flip-flops off and then go sit in a lounge chair on the sand and enjoy every minute of it.
Well, that's great to hear because I think you're really missing out if you don't get to the beach. I really do.
Yeah.
And I know what your hang-ups are.
Yeah.
But I love the beach.
Too hot, too sandy.
Right.
During the middle of the day.
But sunset, you're fine.
Yes, all in.
Okay. Learn something about you every day.
Yep.
Grisham leading it off here, and he'll take the 1-1 for strike 2. He didn't particularly care for the call.
Well,
it's not up to Trent.
Yeah. As we take a look at the defense to the pull side right there. Garrett's doing a fine job. First pitch strikes this evening, 12 out of 17. And you know what? Another big key, no 3-ball counts.
His 70th pitch of his outing is coming up. He deals with Grisham, Kim, and Tatis in the inning. Swinging a foul for Grisham. And we'll do it again here at 2-2. Get a piece of that slider.
Yeah, that was a breaking ball outside corner. Could have spanked that ball the opposite way.
Top of the order, Kim on deck. Then Fernando Tatis Jr. Padres batting in the 6th with a 1-0 lead.
Trent's got a battle here. Which pitch is he going to get?
Stays foul. Miller, the home plate umpire, jumping out there like it may stay fair. He was going to be all over it if it was.
Yeah, he was quick to that, huh?
Very aggressive getting out there. We got to meet the entire umpiring crew today on our way in, which was great. We got to visit with Mark Carlson, your friend, the crew chief of this crew.
Really good crew.
Really nice. 2-2 pitch is strike 3, and Grisham again didn't like it, but he'll take with him the 7th strikeout for Braxton Garrett of the night. One down here in the 6th inning.
That's the two-seamer. He wants it in. It leaks up, but still framed right there by Fortes, and it lights up. The inside corner.
One out in the 6th. Ah-Sung Kim, 0-4-2. Bounced to short, reached on an error. Had a stolen base, but then was picked off at second base. Leading off tonight for the Padres. Action in the pen. Oscar Brazoban up in the pen for the Marlins. First action we've seen either side out in the pen. Out to the mound is Fortes to talk to Garrett here.
Yeah, 3rd time around, so just a little refresher course. Also gives some time to Brosman out there in that bullpen. Sacrifice a mound visit. Some more tosses out in that fish aquarium out there where the pitchers are warming up.
The 2-0 pitch is downstairs for ball 3, 3-0. There you go, your first 3-ball count.
Yeah.
Spins out of the way of a strike. I think he went around. They checked. Yeah, he did. Tomlinson said he offered. He's headed to first base, gets the bad news, and now he's got a full count.
Wants it up and in. Oh, yeah, that's a go.
down, bases empty here for Kim. And a payoff pitch for Garrett. And that is ball 4. And that lit up, but called a ball. And there's the first walk of the night allowed by Garrett. A 1-out walk for Ha-Seong Kim.
You got squeezed on that one. That was a really good pitch. Lefty on righty. Got that angle, that crossfire action there. Does not get the call.
So with 1 out and 1 on, here comes Skip Schumacher. He's at 79 pitches. And again, they got Brazoban ready to go in the pen. Oscar Brazoban. And he's going to go get him. So a pitching change here. That's it for Braxton Garrett. We'll step aside. 1-0 Padres. Aloha from Petco Park. Be one of the first 40,000 fans for the 6:40 p.m. game Wednesday, June 14th, to get this Hawaiian shirt. It's presented by Southwest Airlines. Get your tickets at Padres.com/giveaways. Well, a little surprising to see Braxton Garrett come out of this game at 79 pitches in 5 1/3 innings. Your thoughts? I mean, I guess third time through, maybe a little nervous, maybe?
Yeah, my thoughts are this. Third time through, righty on righty, maybe a little bit more giddy up right here. Trying to challenge Fernando after seeing the soft tosser 2 times. And they're going to have to turn up the dial a little bit. Brazoban's got a good sinker. Skip Schumacher looking for a double play ball.
Garrett responsible for Kim, who's at first with 1 out. Oscar Brazoban goes over to first, and back safely is Kim.
Brazoban's got a sinker about 95-96, so if he keeps that ball, that's tough to elevate. But I think the righty thing has something to do with it. And like you mentioned, Donnie, the third time around, just a different look and a harder thrower.
Down to third base, and Segura goes to second for 1, on to first. That's 2. Well, he got his double play. It's like a pretty good move now. 5-4-3 on the twin killing. Segura starts it down at third base to Arise on to Gurriel. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Some of the Padres greats. Some Hall of Famers, too.
Oh, that's a good list right there. Mr. Padre, Tony Gwynn.
And a happy birthday to the first guy. I understand Jake Peavy's birthday is today.
Yeah, happy birthday to the right-hander, Cy Young Award winner, Triple Crown winner, Jake Peavy.
Chance to spend some time with him earlier this year. They were celebrating at Petco Park.
Yep.
The return of Jake Peavy. And Peavy, of course, joined us last year in the postseason. We get to hang out with Jake for the postseason games at Petco Park.
Being inducted into the Padre Hall of Fame.
He is indeed. There's Jonathan Davis to lead it off in the home half of the 6th inning for the Marlins. And we are so excited tonight to begin the new era of Padres coverage. It's led to a lot of great pictures I have not seen before.
I know. Very nice.
Snell jumping ahead here. 0-2 of Jonathan Davis. It's 74 for Snell, and that one is by him. Well, got a piece. Staying alive. 5 strikeouts for Snell. 1 walk. Allowed 3 hits. Had 2 big double plays turned behind him. Looks like Blake may be calling his own game right now. He's been touching the belt and the pitch calm. Swing and a miss that time does get it by him. That's 6 strikeouts now for Snell as we check back in with Bob.
You know, guys, one of the things that Blake has done so well tonight, and we've talked about this before, is first pitch strikes. It's been a challenge for him over the course of the season, but so far tonight, 12 out of 18. That's 70%. That's better than the league average and almost 30% better than what he normally does, guys. Efficiency, that has always been the question for Blake Snell. He's doing a much better job tonight. Let's see if he can keep it going and working ahead of these Marlin hitters. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Scan. That's the key to getting ahead for him. I mean, yeah, that's huge. I guess it's big for any pitcher, but Blake Snell is special.
Yeah, and tonight it's evident. And thank goodness he made that adjustment after that walk to Soler in the 4th. He gave the base hit, and then he worked line drive, and then that double play ball. So adjustments on the fly after the walk. I think that's a big key for Blake Snell. And he's dealing tonight.
1 down in the 6th inning, and De La Cruz so far 0 for 2 against Snell, and this is 3rd time through now for Snell. Changed up there, and it's now 2-1.
There's been times 3rd time through where Blake Snell will start to throw one of those other pitches of his that he may have thrown 1 or 2 earlier. Give the hitters a different look. There's another back-to-back combos.
Remember when Blake had the changeup in timeout?
Yeah.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, you better get right. Yeah. Before you can come out and play. Learn your lesson. How about that?
Strike call. Thank you.
3 changeups in a row. Hey, you know what? You can throw 3 fastballs in a row. Why not 3 changeups?
I guess the only question is, what are you changing up from if you throw all changeups?
Good question. I think it's just a changeup because it's a different name. Just looks like a fastball. I think if you throw it like a fastball, it still is an effective pitch. And then you're late like that.
Foul down the right field line, out of play.
But that's a good point. There it is. Hard spinner. Change, change, change. Hard.
So he's got here on the payoff pitch. That is inside for ball 4. It was the fastball. There's the 2nd walk allowed by Snell. It's a 1-out walk here in the 6th inning.
Wanted to go inside, but missed off the plate.
One out, 1 on here for the Marlins in the 6th inning. Soler has struck out swinging and walked so far tonight. He'll take a ball down and in. A slider that time from Snell. Outfield pretty deeply situated. They know about Soler's power. About straight away, but they are deep from Soto to Grisham to Tatis.
A couple of things here. Last time out for Snell, he threw 99 pitches. Now that pitch there, 83. The eye test comes in. Location, the velocity is still there, but it's the third time around also for these Marlins. So those are a couple of things maybe you got to keep an eye on.
Swing and a miss, and it's 2-1. Soler with a pretty good rip there. And another changeup. De La Cruz at first with one out in the inning. Fly ball, foul off to the right, out of play. Ball 3, full count. Walked Soler, and last time Soler was at the plate. Walked De La Cruz with one out here in the 6th inning. Payoff pitch. And a swing and a miss. He strikes him out. That's strikeout number 7 for Blake Snell. Looking pretty good right now, Bob.
He got that strikeout on the curveball. Remember earlier in the ball game, he established the curveball early, then the second and now the third time through. How many changeups have we seen? A lot more changeups, but he saved that curveball for the punch out. This has been masterful of Blake Snell in terms of using the curveball early in the game, saving it for later, and now when he needs to go to it with runners on base, he's got something he can still go to without having overexposed it. Guys, back over to you.
All right, ball gets away, and Sanchez fires down to second base. It's late, and De La Cruz able to get to second base. So in the scoring position now with 2 down.
Boy, he spiked a fastball. You don't see that too often now. Sanchez scampers, and a nice job going to his right is Bogarts. Check out Cronenworth in the background. He sees the play developing. He's got to back up as well. Hold him at second base.
So wild pitch getting.
Whoa.
De La Cruz to second base.
Did he just get crossed up right there? The way that Sanchez handled that last pitch was very awkward. Let's watch out how Gary received.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
wow.
That's big time.
Yeah, they're going to talk about it now. And Ruben Niebla, the pitching coach, headed out there.
Let's just have a team meeting on the hill.
Yep, everybody's coming in now. And now a quick word from Jack in the Box.
My Ribeye Steakhouse burgers are made with 100% ribeye beef. Think of them as the CEO of burgers.
2 down here in the 6th inning with a base runner in scoring position and Brian De La Cruz at second base with 2 away. There is action in the Padres pen. Steven Wilson is the action in the Padres pen right now. Blake Snell so far 5 2/3. 9-2-0. And there's a strike. There's a fastball too.
Well, after a rise, it's righty, righty, righty all the way down in the lineup to start for Skip Schumacher's Marlins. So I'm thinking this is his last hitter regardless for Blake Snell. If he gets him out, fine and dandy. If he gets on base, maybe go to Wilson.
And 1 the count to arise with De La Cruz at second. And that's strike 2. He takes it, and the curveball.
Really good curve. That was a dandy.
Full count here to a really good hitter, Luis Rise. Rise fouls it off.
Man, he is quick to the ball with that bat.
Is.
Man.
It's a quick bat.
Yes, it is.
It's a feeling he can foul it off endlessly if he wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Payoff pitch. And that is ball 4. Down to first he goes. Third walk allowed by Snell. So 2 outs and 2 on. And coming up here is Gurriel.
Missed down and away. And it looks like Bob Melvin is going to stick with Blake Snell.
Yep. Gurriel 0 for 2 against him. He has fly to right, line to right. Second one was hit sharply, but right at Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field. Strike 1. Back to the fastball, well placed at the knees. De La Cruz at second, Rise at first with 2 outs in the Marlins 6th inning. On the ground towards short, Bogaerts will flip, and it's in time. Able to force out Rise at second base and to end the inning. When we come back, it'll be the top of the 7th. Juan Soto is going to lead it off for the Padres. Blake Snell, a very good outing and a 1-0 lead. As it appears his night is over. But really good again tonight.
He was outstanding. 6 frames, only 3 hits, no runs. He walked 3. They did not hurt Blake Snell, and he punched out 7. And it was all on the fastball, and they mixed in some breaking stuff as well. But he was in complete control. Early on, these Marlin hitters were really having trouble catching him to the fastball, and he stayed with it. Then he mixed in the breaking ball for the swings and misses. A fine job. Nice night in the big leagues for the left-hander.
Talking it over with his pitching coach now.
Hey, great strides tonight, I would say, huh?
Yes.
After what happened in Washington, now tonight.
And some adjustments made on the fly, I think, in tonight's game. This is the short left. De La Cruz coming in. They'll make the catch. Juan Soto's out number 1.
When we talk about the usage of the fastball tonight, it was 64% of the fastballs used tonight of the pitches thrown. Change up 15% and the slider 11. So heavy on the heaters tonight. But he located the heaters. That's the key.
1 out in the 7th, and Xander Bogaerts 1 for 2 on the night. He's grounded down to short, reached on that infield hit that Braxton Garrett, the pitcher, knocked down and then couldn't make the play on. Line on Garrett, by the way. He went 5 1/3, 2 hits, 1 run. The only run in this game, the home run by Gary Sanchez. He walked 1 and struck out 7 on the hook as he departs, and came in individually at 1 and 2. Swing and a miss for Bogaerts, down 0-2. He'll take his timeout. Bomb back out there again, and this pitch in the dirt for ball one. Brandon Dixon waiting on deck for the Friars. They bat here in the 7th. Lined and caught. A rise. 2 down. Again, he was over towards second base as far as you can be without being in a shift, and then ended up on the other side with the ball in the air. So 2 down.
Check out the footwork right here.
Perfectly legal.
Yeah.
You can end up over there when the ball's
just
in the air.
Can't start there.
You can't start there.
Wouldn't that be something if there was like an imagine you couldn't go like to force field? You can't.
Preventing you from actually going over.
I'll tell you, averages would go through the roof.
Brandon Dixon 0 for 2 in this game. He's grounded out to second, struck out looking.
Boy, that is a nasty cutter from Razabon. Late movement.
And that is in there for strike 3. Just froze him. A 1-2-3 7th for Razabon. It's 1-0 San Diego. 7th inning stretch from Miami. It's time now for our Air National Guard play sets. Blake Snell really good in tonight's game.
He threw the ball really well. Had all of his pitches working for him nicely, and heavy on the fastball. Take a look at some strikeouts. There's the curveball. Fastball up and out, looking for something different. And then the taken curveball, looking for the fastball. He had them all mixed up. Location was key. 4 strikeouts on the heater, 3 on the deuce.
Now it is Steven Wilson taking over here in the last half of the 7th inning.
And the bullpen has been doing quite well. Steven Wilson, one of the reasons why. Pitched yesterday an inning, gave up a walk. He's allowed just 6 hits, no runs in 10 May appearances. For the right-hander, enters his 25th game. Opponent's average only 170. We got a close one.
That'll be John Birdie, Gene Segura, and Nick Fortes scheduled to bat in the inning. As I talk it over, and Cronenworth's going to join the conversation as well, coming from second base. Well, looks like we're going to have a pinch hitter here for the Marlins, and that could be what they're talking about. So no John Birdie. So Joey Wendell, 173, no homers, 5 runs batted in, off the bench into the game. Birdie had been 0 for 2, a strikeout and grounding into a double play. Starts him with a breaking ball for strike one. Sixth shutout inning for Blake Snell. Hands it off to the bullpen here in the seventh. Strike two.
That's a nasty pitch. That's that sweeper from Steven Wilson. Back door right there. Hitter will give up on it. Then all the last second there, bang, right in the outside corner. Watch out of the hand. Looks like it's going to be a ball. Bang. Outside corner for a strike.
Two balls, two strikes here to the pinch hitter Wendell.
Hey, there are holds and then there are holds. And this is a hold right here. Try to hold him at no runs for Steven Wilson in the bullpen for San Diego.
Swing and a foul tip into the catcher's mitt for strike three. So Wilson strikes out the first hitter he faces, and the pinch hitter Wendell. One down. That'll bring up Gene Segura. Nicely done.
Another sweeper. Same spot as before. Boy, he's got that dialed in.
One down in the seventh. Here is Gene Segura. Slow sweeper that time, had him off balance.
So he can wrap it a little bit, make it a little bigger. It's like a Yu Darvish slider, right? Or a curveball, the hard one, the soft one.
More sweep.
Yeah.
Slower.
More coverage.
On the ground to the backhand. Cronenworth's got it from the outfield. He will make the throw in plenty of time. Two down. He's played second base by Jake Cronenworth. When Padres pitchers canine, your canine or feline wins. If the Padres strike out 9 or more batters in a game, Petco Vital Care members can visit participating Petco locations the next day to score a free 6-ounce wholehearted treat with an eligible purchase. Visit petco.com/Padres canine for details. Well, at 8 strikeouts right now for Padres pitching.
Yeah.
So we're getting close.
Need another punchy to take care of our canine and our feline friends.
Free treats. Popped up. Foul off to the right, out of play. Evens the count at 1-1. Fortes has flat out to left, grounded into a 5-4-3 DP. Fastball rising that time.
I'll tell you what.
Tried to bring that back up. But
yeah. Steven Wilson, the last 2 pitches, the clock's been at 1, and he lifts that leg and he goes. He works that clock.
You're right. Barely got that off, and that's a strike. Fortes was ready to flip the bat away, but a full count instead. And now he wants his timeout. He wants to think about it. With a little stroll. He wasn't too pleased with this.
This is the sweeper, and don't be surprised if he throws another one here. 3-2. Steven Wilson.
That was a strike.
Absolutely. Caught a lot of the plate.
In the air to left. Soto started back. Now he's got to come in, but he has time to recover, and he makes the catch below the cap high. We played 7-1-0 San Diego. Padres baseball is here. Join us at Petco Park in 2023 for exciting matchups, giveaways, promotions, and so much more. Visit Padres.com/tickets or scan the QR code now to secure your Padres tickets. Hurry up. It's gone.
Yeah.
Friar Faithful here in Miami as the Padres holding on to a 1-0 lead. And trying to add on as they come to bat here in the 8th, looking to obtain some insurance.
You know what's apparent, Donnie, is that when we travel on the road and the Padres come up with a big hit or something, I mean, it's a resounding applause and loud cheer from the Friar Faithful that travel.
Jake Cronenworth, 0 for 2 in this game, has grounded out to first and struck out swinging. Wendell remains in the game as he will take over at shortstop for Birdie as he hit for Birdie. He's way over there towards second base right now. And a swing and a miss for Cronenworth. Chases the changeup, was fooled there and finds himself down 1-2. Popped up foul off to the left, out of play. Cronenworth, Cruz, and Sanchez expected in the inning. And a swing and a miss for Cronenworth. Brazoban has been really good since coming into this game. Struck out Dixon to close the 7th. He opens the 8th with a strikeout of Cronenworth.
And it's the changeup from the big tall right-hander. Look at the depth of that pitch. Out of the hand. Looks like it's going to be a strike. Great arm action. Looks like a fastball. Got Jake way out in front.
2 strikeouts for Brazoban. Total of 9 in the game for Marlins pitching. And 2 belong to Nelson Cruz, who struck out looking in the 3rd, swinging in the 5th. Padres DH batting 7th. On the ground to short. Wendell, backhand, long throw, will get it there in time. Nice play by Wendell just into the game, and he retires Cruz 6-3 for out number 2 of the 8th.
Out in front, off the end of the bat, got his ground ball, and a good hustle right there by Nelson. Ooh, kind of a little stumble there, and then look at the accurate throw. Very nice play right there.
2 down in the 8th, and here is Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez is the difference in this game. He homered in the 3rd inning off Braxton Garrett. First home run in a Padres uniform. Rips this, but is out ahead down the left field line. Turned on that sinker. Braxton Garrett going 5 1/3, giving him only 2 hits, the 1 run, the home run. Walked 1, struck out 7. Oscar Brazoban has been in since. And he has retired everybody he has faced since coming in. Came in with an inherited runner and quickly got Fernando to ground into the 5-4-3 DP. So the 1-2-3 7th has the first 2 outs of the 8th. So Skip Schumacher going with him for multiple innings.
Well, he can get you a grounder. That's proven.
This one is grounded foul into the Marlins dugout, third base way.
Mentioned it earlier, but for Brazoban, he got that double play ball, and hey, the skipper knows it. 58% ground ball rate, well above the league average.
I've noticed Rod Barajas alongside.
Yeah.
On Skip Schumacher's staff here. He's put together a terrific staff. not as the field coordinator, but is by Skip Schumacher pretty much all game.
Oh, yeah.
So he's kind of like bench coach, really. As a swing and a miss here, Sanchez strikes out. A 1-2-3 eighth, a 1-0 Padres lead. Start your weekend off right with a party in the park presented by Southwest Airlines. Every Friday, fans can enjoy live music and discounted drink specials starting at $5 before first pitch. Learn more at Padres.com/party.
Yeah, join in on the fun. Social sparklers, Padre baseball, you bet.
A retro jersey right there.
Yeah, a little Randy Jones. Well, that one on the right, the military one, that's one of the first military jerseys that they wore back in the day.
New pitcher in for the Padres, the third of the night, is Nick Martinez.
And Nick has been throwing the ball extremely well. High leverage situation, trying to keep the 1-0 lead. Enters his 19th game, ERA at 2.76. Opponents only hitting 220 off of Nick. Pitched an inning yesterday, walked a guy. Nick got the win yesterday to make his record 3-2 in the Padre 9-4 victory.
Takes over Steven Wilson, who enjoyed a 1-2-3 seventh inning strikeout, ground out, flyout. After Blake Snell, 6 innings of shutout pitching, Nick Martinez takes over here in the 8th, dealing with the bottom of the order. And we're going to have a pinch hitter right out of the gate. This was to be Garrett Hampson's spot. Going to be Jesus Sanchez instead. Sanchez will take the strike. Hampson had been 0 for 2, striking out, grounding out. Now Jesus Sanchez pinch hitting for Hampson. Line to right, and that's in for a base hit. A pinch hit single to start the bottom of the 8th. Tying run is aboard for the Marlins. A changeup.
Nick Martinez known for that changeup. And the key is for any pitcher who throws a changeup, get it up in the zone.
Looks like he is calling his pitches out there. Here is Jonathan Davis, 0 for 2 from the number 9 spot in the order. He's popped out to second, struck out swinging. Marlins center fielder is squaring, and he gets it down. Martinez may go to second. Oh, he's going to have no play. I think he hurried it, thinking he may be able to get the lead runner. Instead, he gets nobody. Sanchez will take second, and Davis will reach.
Well, let's see if he was thinking 2 right here. Second base. Nick circles. Oh, yeah, he kind of looked towards second, and then by that time there, no play at first. Just couldn't grab it, and the Marlins got something going here. A couple of breaks.
So to sacrifice the E1. I think he may have had a chance there to get Sanchez if he picks it cleanly, but obviously no chance at this point, and couldn't get anybody. So runners at first and second, nobody out here in the Marlins 8th. Here's Brian De La Cruz. Strike on the outside edge. 0-2.
Ideal situation here, strikeout, no doubt. You got one out, double play in order.
Was ahead 0-2. And a ground ball left side. Incoming is Kim, and he's going to get nobody. Oh, they're going to say he went out of the baseline. So Kim went to tag him, and he is out. Sanchez, a lead runner, and that is going to bring Skip Schumacher out. So Jordan Baker calling him out of the baseline there for the out. That's why Kim couldn't tag him.
Right. Yep.
Kim's pointing at him, and yeah, there's the indication from Jordan Baker, a third base umpire, that he is indeed out of the base path.
Okay, he creates his baseline right there. Now Kim starts to tag. That's when you establish the 3 feet. According to the third base umpire, he is out of the baseline. It's a big out. That's when he establishes the baseline right there. And then the reach, and then the 3 feet gone. And if we saw that again, he did it. Try to attempt with the glove, extend the glove. That meaning trying to make the tag, and that's crucial.
2 on, 1 away, and a pitch up and in. Soler has struck out swinging. He has walked and struck out swinging again. Tough spot here for Nick Martinez against a guy who can take you out of the yard. 17 home runs for Soler.
He's grounded into 6 double plays this season. Got to keep the ball down. Ooh, thank you.
Got a call.
Wow. Look at the movement on this, and Sanchez does a good job of sticking that one, bringing it back, gets the call.
The 2-1 pitch in the dirt, and it's 3-1. That was one of the things Bob Melvin was talking about yesterday, was how good Sanchez is at framing pitches. Yep. Back when he was a Yankee, he really did a very good job of it. As he learns the pitching staff on the fly. Night 2 of his education. 3-1 pitch coming up here. And that's in there for a strike. Appeared to be taken all the way. It was a curveball. Full count.
Caught a lot of the plate, yeah.
Runners at first and second with 1 out. A 3-2 pitch. And Soler will take ball 4. Loads the bases. Fourth walk allowed by Padres pitching in the game, and a bases loaded 1-out situation now for the Marlins here in the last of the 8th.
Did not bite on the changeup. That pitch splits the heart of the plate, but down out of the zone.
Ruben Niebla out there again. Let's talk to Nick Martinez. The bases loaded, filled with fish.
Well, does Skip Schumacher want any other type of situation right here with the best hitter right now in this type of situation?
Well, Rise is that hitter, and he has been aboard 3 times in this game, 2 singles and a walk. Yeah, if you could ask Skip Schumacher who he would want to go up in this situation, this is the guy.
You bet. Last night we mentioned it a couple times, but grounded into a double play. But Padres definitely need that again right here.
With the 2 hits tonight, he is hitting .383 to set the pace in the majors in batting average.
And on that first pitch in play, you got to be careful. .350 average, 7 for 20. Here we go.
Ball 1. Davis at third, De La Cruz at second, Soler at first with one out.
Oh, how do you lay off that pitch? Wow, out of the hand. That pitch looks like it's going to catch a lot of the plate. And then watch this. That ball's in the top part of the zone and then ends up out of the zone, but yet Arise recognizes it and takes it.
Up the middle, it is Bogaerts who will touch second, throw to first, and it's picked by Dixon. Double play. What a play.
Wow.
That was headed towards center field. Bogaerts will take it to the bag and then fire to first, and Dixon on the other side picks it. The double play gets him out of the bases loaded jam. So Arise, who grounded into 2 big DPs last night, does it again tonight. What a play. Keeps it 1-0. Pretty impressive there with the bases loaded and one out. Xander Bogaerts takes it himself to the bag. Cronenworth gets out of town there. And then Dixon able to pick it.
How about the footwork? And look at the excitement. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is a guy who's been in the big leagues a long, long time. And credit Dixon for picking that one over at first base. Nick Martinez, he's all fired up. Xander Bogaerts all fired up. A lot going on right there. A huge ground ball double play.
Now new pitcher into the game now, as what a great job by Brazoban, who came in to take over. Okert taking over now.
Well, the Marlins, they've got a good bullpen. Been throwing the ball well lately. 20th game for Okert. Whip below 1. Opponent's average 0.96.
Trent Grisham with a swing and a miss. Grisham 0 for 2 tonight, is lined out to short and struck out looking. Popped up foul off to left out of play. Swing and a miss, and Grisham will strike out. So 1 out here in the 9th inning. Cheer on the Padres in a newly renovated suite or all-inclusive hospitality space at Petco Park. Enjoy a premium experience with friends and see some exciting matchups, including the Chicago Cubs, Los Angeles Angels, and the New York Mets. Learn more at Padres.com/groups. In their first strike. Kim tonight has grounded to short, reached on an error, and walked. Leading off tonight for the Padres, batting with one out here in the ninth. Roof has been closed the entire series. Last night was a good thing. We had quite the thunder and lightning storm going on outside, and tonight we're expected some storms. Straightens him up with a pitch in.
Well, you're going to get one of two pitches from Okert. The slider, which is 70% of the time, or the four-seam fastball. It's like 30% of the time. See my math there, Donnie? 70 and
really
30
good.
equals 100.
Very impressive. Swing and a miss. That one almost hit him as he chases and strikes out. Back-to-back Ks for Okert. And two down in the ninth.
That's the slider. You got Grisham on the fastball. This is the slider for the swing and miss. Comes right after you.
Two down here in the ninth, and here is Fernando Tatis Jr. An 0-for-3 night tonight for Fernando. And a grounder foul out ahead. Chase the slider. Oscar Brazagon tonight went 2 2/3, retired everybody he faced. Struck out 3. Total of 12 strikeouts in this game from Marlins pitching. As you might imagine, warming in the pen for the Padres with a 1-0 lead this stage of the game. The closer, Josh Hader. He was up last night, but they didn't need him. Kind of blew it open.
Wheels came off a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Shut him down.
It's unnecessary. So a foul back to the screen, 2-2.
Save him for tonight. Hey, it would be a nice little 2-out thunder here, maybe a run or two.
Ten in a row right now retired by Marlins pitching with 2 down in the ninth. And Fernando out ahead of this, lines it down the left field line.
That's a tough pitch to keep fair. That breaking ball down and in.
Inside out swing, and he fouls it the other way. Braxton Garrett, the starter, 5 1/3, giving up the only run in this game, and the home run by Gary Sanchez. 2-2 is ball 3, a little bit high. So a full count to Fernando Tatis Jr. Swing and a miss, and Fernando strikes out, and striking out the side is Steven Okert. It's 1-0 Padres. To the bottom of the ninth we go. back in Miami. Padres trying to wrap it up and win the series. After a win last night, trying to make it 2 in a row, have a 1-0 lead. And it's closing time for Josh Hader, who is into this game, becomes a fourth-arm use by Bob Melvin. Trying to wrap it up.
Closing time means last call for the Marlins, 23rd game, and these are magnificent numbers for Josh Hader. 23rd game. Look at the strikeouts to walks. Look at the whip, well below 1. Opponents only 0.96. There are saves, and then there are tough saves, and this is one of the tough ones. The Padres leading 1-0.
Nick Martinez working a big 8th inning and getting some real help from his defense. Padres have turned 3 double plays in this game, but none bigger than the one that they pulled off in the 8th to keep this a 1-run lead for San Diego.
And what's been the one constant all year long with the San Diego Padre team, Don, on this roster?
Oh, the defense.
The defense is
outstanding.
Yep.
Xander Bogaerts making that double play, and a great play at first base too by Dixon to pull it out of the dirt.
That was a great pick, by the way. Let's not sleep on that one.
Yuli Gurriel to lead it off. Gurriel 0 for 3 in the game, the first baseman for the Marlins. That one gets away from Sanchez to the backstop at 97.
Josh likes to throw the fastball up, but getting ahead is key. First 2 pitches right there missing up.
So's that 3-0. Strike in there, 3-1. Brought it down, 97. The velocity the same.
Yeah, throw him another one.
And that's very high. Ball 4, a leadoff walk in the 9th.
Missing up with the majority of the pitches. Well, nothing that a double play won't take care of. Padres are known for that. Working down. Hey, punch outs are nice, but a grounder right here for 2 would be better.
Wendell about to get his second plate appearance of the game. Pinch hit, struck out in the 7th. Here he is in the 9th. Lead runner on for Miami. And the bunt bid is popped up, foul, backing out of play. They're not wasting any time.
Yeah, it's tough to bunt when you're throwing 97, 98 up in the zone. To get on top of that one.
And 1. He has missed it as Ben up with that fastball. Squaring again, and he gets it down this time. Hader will go to first, and the sacrifice is complete. Gurriel into scoring position at second base.
Perfectly executed. Got a good pitch to bunt. It was up. Stayed on top of it. Got that angle. And as soon as that ball touches the turf, Gurriel is off.
Cronenworth covered, so 1-4 on the sacrifice. Tying run in scoring position. Gene Segura now will take a fastball up and in. Segura has struck out, singled, and grounded out. Foul back, and it's 1-1. The pitch up. All the fastballs have been primarily. Tying run at second base, and Gurriel getting his walking lead with 1 out in the 9th. Swanson. Here's Hader back up on top of the hill. The clock ticking. Two and two. Padres turn to DP in the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. Another fastball up and chasing that fastball up by the letters was Segura.
So hard to lay off, especially if Hader gets ahead in the count. 2 strikes here. See if he does it again.
In the dirt, full count. Mixed in a slider. Just to give him another thought.
Yeah.
Tying run at second base in Gurriel. Three and two, the count to Segura. And a ground ball foul outside of third, and the battle continues. Back-to-back sliders.
Remember, Hader's got that changeup as well. Here's a look at the slider, down and in. Wow. Wow.
On the ground by the dive of Bogaerts into left. Gurriel being sent around. Here comes a throw. It's cut off then thrown to the plate late. And up to second base goes Segura. The Marlins have tied it. The blown save for Josh Hader.
This ball is hit so hard to left field. Thought there was going to be a play. Now this ball, as we take a look, it's cut. But I thought Kim had a chance to maybe the relay. But Sanchez is up the line, reading the throw. He abandons home plate. What do you think? Maybe if he catches relay? Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And thank goodness, you know, Hader's backing up right there. Wow.
Yeah, if Sanchez is at the play, they got him. Instead, it's a tie game. It is a single, an RBI, takes second on the throw, and the go-ahead run, or actually the winning run, is in scoring position now for Miami. This has happened quickly. Takes off for third base. Here's the throw to third. He is safe. Stolen base for Segura. Now just 90 feet away.
Got the front door closed, but a good jump by Segura. Shuffle, shuffle. Gotta go. Oh, that's a hard slide.
Infield in all the way around now. Nick Fortes, the catcher, with a chance to win it for the Marlins. And a ground ball base hit into right field. He will from third base. Scoring is Segura, and the Marlins walk it off. Fortes right inside the bag down the first base line. And amazingly, the Marlins walk off with the win against Josh Hader. So the blown save and now the loss for Hader. And this is as frustrating as it gets.
Well, when you talk about the hard throw of Josh Hader, that's good hitting right there by Fortes. Infield is in. Just barrel it up, hit it hard somewhere. Talk about using the whole field. Spanks it down the right field line. And the fish are swimming upstream.
This one hurts. Padres pitched so well tonight, got out of so many different jams in this game. The 3 double plays were huge. But in the end, Hader, that leadoff walk, really costly as it turns out. That run scores to tie the game, but the winning run comes in. Segura scores as Fortes inside the bag at first with the base hit down the line and right. And it's the Marlins who take game 2 of the series. Hader will be the winner. Okert will be the winner. Hader will be the loser. And the blown save as well. A frustrating night tonight from Miami. Final score 2-1 Marlins. Post game is next.